Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. This is the first in a set of battles between Iron General and Shetland Apache I'm going to cover from the Warhammer Fantasy League battles hosted a couple weeks ago. They play the Beastmen and Wood Elves respectively, and things get pretty wild. We begin of course with talk of composition and deployment, and as you can see both sides trying some pretty interesting things on the field today. The Beastmen are led by Morga the Shadowgave alongside a Bray Shaman of Death, both on foot. The front line consists of these two units of Ungor Herd, alongside these Gore Herd with shields and the Bestigor Herd over here, while either flank has a pair of Ungor Spearmen Herd with shields, using shields of course to stay protected from range support. Then, up front, Vanguard deployed, we have a pair of Senegor on either flank, alongside a pair of Senegor with throwing axes on either flank as well, able to push in rather aggressively, shut down any archers, and just discover where the Wood Elves might be hiding if they choose to do so. And as you can see, they have very much chosen to do so. On the other side of the field, Durthu is in charge, hiding among the trees alongside the Branch Wraith over here, and we also have a bunch of Dryads, 3 units of Dryads to be specific, alongside a unit of Eternal Guard over here and over here, alongside these War Dancers with Asteroid Spear here and here. We also have the regular War Dancers in the center, and the Sisters of the Thorn over here and over here. So largely staying hidden in the trees, not really a deployment for battle, while up front we have this Forest Dragon up in the air, maybe scouting, getting some information as to what the Beastmen are up to, so the Wood Elves can adjust accordingly. Now, with all that said and done, let's take a look at how it all breaks down. Right away, the Beastmen playing a little aggressively, of course, pushing forward towards that Forest Dragon with the Senegor with their throwing axes, trying to maybe get some damage done nice and early, while the Sisters of the Thorn here tucked away from the trees, pulling in for a little bit of damage of their own. At the same time, the Senegor with their throwing axes off to the side on the right here, pulling forward to just see if there's anything hiding over there, I think. And over here, the Forest Dragon, of course, like I mentioned, being focused down on a little bit, getting a little bit of damage in there with these throwing axes. The Forest Dragon doesn't care too much right now, but of course, don't want to leave it out there, eating all that damage pointlessly, pulling it back there into some safety, looking for an opportunity to dive in wherever possible. And you can see these Sisters of the Thorn here firing away into some of these Senegor with their throwing axes, while over here we have these Sisters pushing in and then deciding last minute to pull back, not to charge in, of course, into those spears, while the Forest Dragon comes in from the side as these spears are distracted, giving chase to the Sisters of the Thorn. In comes the Forest Dragon, getting a beautiful charge in there, causing a fair bit of morale damage, bringing in that poison damage as well, and we have these War Dancers with Asteroid Spear able to follow through as well, while some shots come in from these Sisters of the Thorn too. So great work there, focusing in on the Ungor Spearman Herd, hoping to take care of those guys, while these Sisters of the Thorn in the middle over here, pushing in towards the Ungor Herd momentarily as all those throwing axes come in from the Senegor, and then deciding to turn around and try to get a nice rear charge into the Ungor Spearman Herd over here, but that is not the best call. You can see that charge doesn't do too much damage. The Ungor Spearmen just turn around and start poking and prodding away as the Senegor with their throwing axes throw their axes and do a fair bit of damage, and the Senegor as well, pushing through for a nice rear charge, hoping to just devastate the Sisters of the Thorn there. And you can see we have the Curse of Anrair going down here, reducing melee attacks significantly, also reducing speed over here, making sure these guys aren't able to get as much damage from that charge as it comes crashing into the backs of the Sisters of the Thorn. But unfortunately, far too little, far too late. The Sisters of the Thorn have basically 50% health there. They're falling apart. Their morale is extremely low as well. And you can see over here, these Sisters of the Thorn try to get a nice charge into the Ungor Spearman Herd on the left flank over here. They're already terrified off, going to take a bit more damage. They're hoping to eliminate those guys as quickly as possible. While in the center here, we have the Wood Elves charging forward, hoping to get engaged and take advantage of the Curse of Anrair here for as long as it does last. To that left flank, you can see that these Sisters of the Thorn not having a good time. Neither of the Sisters of the Thorn having a good time. They're fully surrounded, getting rear charge, getting poked and prodded by spears. So a terrible situation for them to be in, and they are falling apart. But so too are the Ungor Spearman Herd. A relatively balanced left flank there, though it is coming out in favor of the Wood Elves. On the right flank, though, you can see we have engagement starting as well. The Bestigor Herd will do well against the Dryads, but we've got the Eternal Guard pushing in as well to try and provide some numerical support, while over here we have Earthblood going down just to try and keep these guys alive and fighting, of course, some very valuable units. These Sisters of the Thorn able to stay alive after all, but in comes the Fate of Buna, causing a fair bit of damage as they retreat from that engagement. And you can see over here as well, the Senegor terrified off, not having a good time, while these Sisters give chase to the Senegor with throwing axes, and the throwing axes come in response to cause a fair bit of damage. Sword of Daith goes down as Durthu pushes in, trying to reduce armor across the board here, trying to reduce the armor for Morga the Shadowgave, especially hoping to dive in and get rid of Beastmen leadership as quickly as possible. While all the way to the right over here, you can see the Senegor with their throwing axes have tucked into the sides here and are now getting some nice rear charges into the backs of these Dryads and the Eternal Guard on the right flank. Wonderfully done there, sending these range units into melee to try and reduce morale and just devastate that right flank from the Elves. And you can see it's working out quite magnificently. We have our first Shatter over there as well, while to the left over here, these Chaos Spawn have been brought up to try and help, but unfortunately the War Dancers with the Asteroid Spear will make very quick work of these guys. They don't stand a chance. They are large, and the Aserai Spear are, of course, anti-large, so that's not going to be any trouble for them whatsoever. In the center left over here, though, we have these sisters trying to be of some use, as that Fate of unit has caused a significant amount of damage, trying to provide some support and scare off these Ungor herd here in terms of getting their morale to drop and getting them to rout off, and the Forest Dragon alongside Durthu as well doing a lot of work. Shield of Thorns goes down, trying to shut down the Senegor as quickly as possible as well, and we have another Earthblood as well, just trying to keep these guys alive, of course, and these guys using Shield of Thorns again to try and cause more damage than they were earlier, trying to rid the battlefield of the Senegor as these guys start to retreat and pull into some safety. The Curse of Anraer is still very much active and causing a lot of hurt and pain. You can see, though, that right flank is having a terrible time from the perspective of the Elves. We had another wonderful rear charge coming here from the Senegor with the throwing axes, dropping the will to fight of these War Dancers, but in comes that beautiful breath attack from the Forest Dragon, doing a lot of hurt to the Senegor with throwing axes. Wonderfully done there, trying to eliminate that threat, but unfortunately, once again, just far too little, far too late. Those Senegor with throwing axes, though they do take a fair bit of damage and they decide to pull back, they were able to just destroy these War Dancers over here. And at the same time, we have another unit of Chaos Spawn being brought up over here, using that Spirit Essence of Chaos to gain yet another unit on the battlefield, and a very scary unit to boot as well. Over here, though, you can see Durthu having a bit of a field day against Morgar the Shadowgate. Morgar has been fully surrounded, taking a lot of hurt from multiple directions there. A dangerous situation for him to be in. And at the same time, we have another Fate of unit going down on the Sisters of the Thorn. They're trying to rid the Wood Elves of that unit as it comes crashing into the Senegor as well as Morgar the Shadowgate. Again, the Sisters of the Thorn are very low on health, very low on morale. They're about to give up on the fight, but they're trying to get a little bit of damage in there wherever possible, while these Senegor with throwing axes and the Chaos Spawn as well charge into this giant clump over here. Morgar, again, just not having a good time, trying to use Foe Seeker to get out of there, but Durthu causing a lot of damage, especially with the assistance of Shield of Thorns there, doing a lot of hurt. But you can see these Wood Elf units are beginning to shatter and give up. These Sisters as well have given up on the fight, while back here we have another giant clump going on as the Forest Dragon is trying to get a lot of damage done to this Bray Shaman of Death. But of course, the Forest Dragon does get fully surrounded by the Senegor. We also have some Gore Herd here beating on these War Dancers with Aserai Spear, trying to get some damage done, and the Forest Dragon again tossing back some of these Ungor Herd, while over here we have the Senegor with throwing axes getting a wonderful rear charge into the Eternal Guard over here, again getting that morale to drop significantly, hoping that these guys will give up on the fight as some of those throwing axes continue to fire into this giant clump. And you can see these Dryads giving up on the fight, the Eternal Guard as well as the Branch Wraith over here, very low on morale, willing to give up on the fight as this charge comes in again, and so too does the Sword of Death, again just hoping to cause a fair bit of damage, reduce armor across the board over here. But Durthu, you can see, very low on morale as well, surrounded, taking a fair bit of damage as well. In come the Ungor Spearman Herd, pushing in towards that large threat, of course, while the Senegor with their throwing axes firing away. And back here, the Forest Dragon giving up on the fight as well, fully surrounded by the Gore Herd, by the Senegor as well, not really having a good time, having to try and take to the air, routing already as the Senegor with their throwing axes peel back, get some distance, and fire away from that distance, hoping to eliminate that Forest Dragon once and for all. But you can see over here, these Ungor Spearman Herd obviously not sticking around to fight against Durthu for too long. They have all begun to rout as well, giving up on the fight, slowly beginning to rally, while in the center here you can see these Dryads have given up, and the Chaos Spawn as well did just die off. The Bestigor over here chasing after, I think, the Eternal Guard. They need to turn around and chase after the Branch Wraith, but the Branch Wraith does get hit by Spirit Leech, just again trying to eliminate that magical support. And of course the Branch Wraith is capable in melee as well, not a bad call whatsoever. Durthu, though, giving chase over here, and the Senegor with their throwing axes a little indecisive whether they want to engage in melee and give Morgar a chance to survive, or if they want to toss some axes. I think ultimately deciding to fall back and try to remove that Forest Dragon with some more permanence there, while over here the while Morgar is being chased by Durthu. Durthu ultimately decides to turn around and give this guy a terrible time for some reason. What a bully there, Durthu. Turns around, using Foe Seeker now just to keep vigor up, but you can see he is now the center of attention for all of the Beastmen units. There isn't much he can do as all those throwing axes come in, continuing to give chase to Morgar, maybe hoping to at least eliminate Beastmen leadership. A wonderful swipe of his sword there, unfortunately not enough though, as he does get fully surrounded, and you can see health is dropping, morale is dropping as well. We've got these Bestigor diving in with their armor-piercing capabilities. We've got these Ungor Spearman Herd as well with their anti-large capabilities. Durthu's will to fight is dropping significantly and quite quickly, and ultimately he decides that he's not going to stick around. He breaks, he shatters, he leaves the field. Now that was an excellent example of collapsing one flank and using the momentum to destroy the enemy. The Beastmen used a few ranged cavalry units to get wonderful rear charges on the right flank that then helped catapult the Wood Elves towards failure. Great use of magic to eliminate the Sisters of the Thorn as well, and some fantastic micromanagement from both sides to start, but ultimately the superior numbers and maneuverability meant the Beastmen took the day. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to see great battles from the community. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.